Today I will introduce travel tips in Japan that you may not know yet, while some of them are even Japanese don't know yet, so don't miss out. So let's start finding the best menu in Japanese restaurant. You can often order food by purchasing meal ticket from a ticket vending machine in Japan. But in such cases, the menu item on the top left of the ticket machine is generally either the restaurant's most popular menu or the one they recommend. Many ramen shops in particular have adopted this ticket machine system. It's common to see foreigners who are unsure which menu item to order when they visit a ramen shop. If you are unsure what to order from the ticket machine, you might want to try the menu item at the top left. Of course, you could also ask the staff for their best menu, but there is no guarantee they will be able to speak English. While many people struggle with which restaurant to go to in Japan, even before deciding what to order. But in such cases, it's reliable to find a restaurant using Tabelog, the app that we Japanese use the most when finding a restaurant. When you open Tabelog and enter your current location or the nearby station where you plan to go, the restaurant will appear as options. When choosing, if the rating is 3.5 or higher, there are fine restaurants. 3.6 to 3.7 is quite good. If it's above 3.8, be prepared to make a reservation earlier or wait in line for a long time at a very popular restaurant. But of course, there are good restaurants with a rating of 3.5 or lower. In particular, chain restaurants tend to have relatively low scores. If you are undecided about which restaurant to go to in Japan, try using Tabelog like the Japanese did. It seems that there is no app in some regions, so please try using the web version in that case. The quickest and surefire way to find a delicious restaurant in Japan is to go to a restaurant on the rooftop of a department store. You will always find department stores such as Takashimaya, Isetan, Daimaru, Mitsukoshi, and Seibu near big stations like Shinjuku Station, Shibuya Station, and Tokyo Station. There are restaurants at the upper level of these department stores, and the restaurants are almost always lined with famous restaurants, so you can't go wrong. Of course, the price is a bit high, but if you want to decide on the delicious restaurant quickly, it's recommended to go to a restaurant and the department store. When eating barbecue in Japan is mostly eaten with either salt or sauce. However, it's very well known, but actually eating meat with wasabi is incredibly delicious, so please give it a try. But eating refined meat with a lot of fat and wasabi is especially recommended, and it is my favorite way to eat. Once you know the delicious way to eat meat plus wasabi, you won't be able to stop, so please try to get to know this way of eating at least once. Did you know that there are delicious ways to eat sushi and yakiniku? When eating sushi and yakiniku, it is considered delicious to start eating from lighter flavored menus first. But this is because eating a heavily flavored menu items first can overwhelm the taste of the lighter flavor menus. This might be easier to understand with high-end sushi that only offers a course menu. The sushi toppings served are usually lighter flavored first, and more heavily flavored items like tuna are mostly served later. Of course, there is no problem at all if you want to eat what you want first. If you want to enjoy sushi and yakiniku even more, trying to order from that lighter flavored menu might make your meal even more delicious. But generally in Japanese sushi restaurant, it is common to eat sushi with wasabi. However, since wasabi is very spicy, you may want to adjust the amount depending on your preference and physical condition. But in Japanese sushi restaurant, it is basically possible to remove the wasabi. But especially when ordering sushi, you can tell the staff just slowly by saying, "No wasabi, please." They understand that, so if you are not a fan of wasabi, please try it. If I recommend a place that is not well known yet to foreigners, it would be the department store basement, which is called Depachika in Japanese. The basement floor of the department store is almost certainly a supermarket or a food corner. In these department stores' basement, a wide variety of items are available, including bento boxes, sweets, and snacks from famous shops that could make great souvenirs. But of course, the prices are a little higher, but all the items are popular, and regardless of what you choose, you can find delicious Japanese bento boxes or sweets, which highly recommended. Be aware that on Friday, Saturdays, and holidays, most Japanese izakaya pubs only allow you to stay for 2 hours. This policy is generally in place to prevent customers from occupying tables for extended period of time, as izakaya tend to be crowded on weekends. Of course, there will be an explanation before you enter the izakaya, but be aware that the staff may not be able to explain in English. Also, there are 2 points to pay attention to when entering an izakaya under this 2-hour system. The first is that last order is placed 90 minutes in. The second one is that it can be difficult to enter your second restaurant or pub. Many places are crowded due to the weekend. Of course, they start to open up a bit from around 9 o'clock, but if you enter the first place at 6 p.m., you will leave at 8 p.m., and it can be challenging to find the next place. Please plan your weekend dining out carefully. In Japanese izakaya, a dish you didn't order is served at first. This is a part of the Japanese izakaya culture known as otoshi in Japanese. The otoshi served in izakaya is a dish made with restaurant specialty or seasonal ingredients. It is provided for the purpose of enjoying the atmosphere of the pub and stimulating appetite. And it also includes a kind of welcome meaning. But on the other hand, since it also serves as a seat fee, you will have to pay a certain fee. But even though you didn't order it, you receive it and have to pay for it. So it feels like a bit like a scam, but in return, you don't have to pay a seat fee. Also, you can technically refuse this otoshi when it's served. However, as it also serves as a cover charge, it's generally considered normal not to refuse in Japan. In Japanese restaurants, it is common for customers to call the staff. For example, you might raise your hand, call out, or press a bell or button to call the waiter. While this might not be normal in some countries, it's a very common practice in Japan. But especially during busy times, it's not common for staff to come unless you raise your hand or call out. Let's consider it normal to call the staff yourself at Japanese restaurants and izakayas. I think every country has its own way of enjoying the night. But in Japan, a common way to enjoy the night is to have a drink first. Once you start to feel a little tipsy and your mood gets high, you go to karaoke and sing. This is a standard way to enjoy the night in Japan. After karaoke, it's also standard in Japan to finish the night by eating ramen. In this case, I recommend salt ramen. Please try to experience the feeling of the soup spreading wide inside your tipsy body. While traveling in Japan, you may need to ask a Japanese person if you get lost or have something you don't understand. However, Japanese people who are not good at speaking English or not accustomed to speaking with foreigners may feel intimidated and ignore you when approached by a foreigner. While it might be hard to believe, but for Japanese people who are not used to speaking English with foreigners, the moment you speak to them in English, they often feel a bit of tension. Therefore, when you have something to ask a Japanese person, please say "sumimasen" in Japanese. Before you ask, this means "excuse me" in English. By starting conversation with the Japanese, the initial tension given to the Japanese person will definitely change. We also talk about this phrase in this video, so please also watch it later. When talking with Japanese people, you might notice something. For some reason, Japanese people often look away during conversations. In your country, to look away during a conversation often signifies that you are thinking about something else or something is bothering you. However, maintaining eye contact throughout the conversation is considered strange in Japan. It is normal to look away at appropriate times during the conversation. So if you ever wonder why the Japanese person you are talking to is looking away, don't worry, that's normal in Japan. One of the most difficult topics, and therefore seldom discussed, is the issue of smell. This is a psychological difference due to individual constitution. I feel there is no right or wrong. Therefore, it's not advice, but I would like to share how I, as a Japanese person, think about it. In Japan, where it's considered natural to be considerate of others in public places, smell is one of the things people are most concerned about. Therefore, when I get on the train, especially in the summer, I make sure to use deodorant just in case. Also, applying too much can cause discomfort, so the key is to apply it moderately. This is a bit tricky and there is no right answer. If you are concerned, it might be safe to apply deodorant moderately when you go out, just like I do. Are you all too quick to decide to use the Shinkansen when moving between cities in Japan? Depending on the destination, Japanese people cleverly choose between using the Shinkansen and airplane. For example, when traveling from Tokyo to Hiroshima, many Japanese people use the Shinkansen. This is because it arrives faster in total time. But on the other hand, when traveling from Tokyo to Fukuoka, the plane saves more time. This is because Fukuoka Airport is very close to the city, so there is hardly any travel time other than on the plane. Of course, if there is no airport like in Kyoto, you will have to travel by Shinkansen. But there are places where you can save much more time by plane. So it's good to keep in mind that planes are also option for moving around in Japan. So if you're planning to come to Japan someday, please also watch this video on travel tips. It also helps you to have a wonderful time in Japan. Thank you so much for watching. Have fun in Japan. Bye.